calm, but I warn that there is a storm. I'm not your favorite, but pretty soon know you will conform. So I would never leave the mic alone, calling up opportunity like the mic is my phone. My heart's cold and her love for me is so warm. She hasn't said it, but her stare was so long. She couldn't feel me though. It's real.
Your experience, just being in a big recording studio like that, and then for the first time, and then working with a producer like Abe.
Sure. I mean, so, and to take it one step back is like prior to going
Yeah.
into that studio, right? We went in with all of our tunes planned out and demoed, right?
Hmm.
And so what we were doing prior to going to Transmitter Park was it was all at home, right? This was like still I would say early days of proper home studio recording. The gear wasn't as terrible as like prior, but it wasn't as nearly as good as everything is today where, it's a whole different class. So I just remember like everything was done inside of like a basement apartment, at least on my side, through like an old Presonus interface into like an early Mac Mini,
Yeah.
just using
Logic or GarageBand?
not even at the time. I think it was Steinberg. It was
Wow. Okay.
Sequel 2 is where we
Wow.
cut most of those demos. But so like you're basically isolated, right? Because it's like you, or if it was the two of us together, that kind of thing, into an interface to computer, headphones, speakers for reference. That's that. When you go then into a real studio and you have a proper engineer, you've got a proper mixing console, you've got mic pre's, I mean, Abe had a plethora of guitar pedals for synth. He had a variety of synths at the time. He had that Mellotron that we wound
Yeah.
up using.
Yep.
His live room for drums that we tracked that and vocals in. I mean, it's a whole different world because now you're going from I'm in the space that I'm comfortable with and I have little to work with, but you make it work to, oh, now this is like real life, so there's a bit of nerves because you're like, A, I'm paying for this, so don't mess up. B, I have a professional watching me, so don't mess up.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, it's like, what does this knob do? And what does that preamp do? And which mics are you using? So it's a wonderful experience to me when you go into any studio, especially if you're not an engineer or you just don't spend a lot of time there, to take in the entire situation because the nerves are nerves, but they're also a good thing because it's going to push you to want to perform your best. And it's probably the best, from an audio perspective, the best learning opportunity you could ever get is hands-on in front of gear, understanding why that particular engineer is going to put this pedal down, put this mic on your amp, put these mics on the drums, why they're multi-miking the amp or the drums or even a vocal. And start to try to take that home so that, because after that situation, we recorded a wonderful album there. But then as we started to do more stuff ourselves, it's always going back to that experience. What would Abe do? I think that was one of our sayings at that point. What would Abe do here?
Yeah, that really was.
And then start to grow that out. And then again, just like we were talking about before, you learn the harmony, you learn the tunes, and then you can understand what's happening so that you can make your own. It's the same thing here. Learn the application, learn the gear, learn how to put it together, and then how I can adjust it. So I mean, it was great because it was just such a learning experience that we benefited from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
And our album sounded good. So thanks, Abe.
yeah, no. Yeah. Oh man. All praise to Abe for sure. Um, that was such a great experience, and yeah, it's just great. I love hearing your like the way you just kind of recap that everything about it. What was exciting about it? What was nerve-wracking about it? But also like why like being nervous is good. Like why it's normal, but it's also you end up most likely getting great takes.
Right.
Even if there's a couple in there that are a little rough or whatever. But also, did you? I mean, obviously, every producer you work with or engineer you work with is obviously going to be different. But did you feel like, it's like it's being nervous in front of a professional like that, especially when it's your first time, right? But did you feel like how did you, once you were in it and going through tracks with him, like, did you still feel that like, oh man, like he's, I wonder if he's happy with that take or not? Or, did you feel like I felt like my experience with him was once I got in there,
Right.
Like he was just very warm,
Oh
and so
yeah.
like that kind of allows you to just settle in then and realize like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm here because I should be here.
Oh, totally. I mean, the nerves on my side, like, has not real reflection on Abe. Abe is like, if you ever get to the joy of meeting Abe is like a tall lumberjack of a man.
Yeah.
But also is like, yeah, as Nick said, one of the warmest, like, most inviting people. That's just like, come on in. Don't worry about it. I got you. He's very
Yeah.
kind of like just smooth spoken. So he can put anybody at ease. I'm always nervous because I'm always
Ah,
judging myself and judging
yeah.
things you have to learn to do that less, which over time I have. But when we had started that was not me. I was very much like, oh boy, am I going to do this right? Am I playing too fast? I always speed up.
Yeah.
Am I speeding? For me, it took me a little while just to let that go in myself. But no, a good
Mm,
producer, any producer worth their weight in salt, which Abe is one that wants the best performance out of you. And from a musician, usually how to get that is going to be to put them at ease so they feel comfortable to do what they got to do. So, from a player perspective, the best thing you could do while recording in terms of that is try to calm down. And like you said, just enjoy the experience and take it for what it is. Kind of get out of your head. From a
yeah.
production standpoint, hopefully that person you're working with is also helping to do that for you.
Won't you let your fear go? Watch the money grow. I accidentally flow while I'm saying what I know. They call it rapping, but to me I'm straight to my soul. Even the mirror couldn't show the potential you hold. Don't fold, they tryna see my game crease.